Well, I'm back after quite a long weekend back in London, and not hugely restful. It was it was nice and enjoyable, but there was met cuddled friends, and Christian was there. Got back yesterday. That was Sunday. It's absolutely stifling hot here now. So the plan for the coming days is to carry on with the joyful installation. I need to finish off marking off where I need to gouge out the wires and the battens bit, and then cut the battens and put the battens on and use the insulation foam to get there. How fast I'll go, I don't know. When I got back, I mean, it's a bit of a heat wave here in the UK at the moment, and it was even late afternoon on Sunday, it was 30 degrees here, which meant in the boat, goodness knows what it was, but it was certainly going to be more than 30 degrees. So a bit too hot to do any meaningful work, and it's forecast to be a scorcher again today and tomorrow. So I don't want to, I've been feeling a bit COVID-y as well for the last weekend, and so I don't really want to overdo it. But I also want to make some progress. So I'll do a little bit while it's still relatively cool than this morning, but maybe not quite as much as I hoped. And this is probably going to be a boring video to watch. I mean, it's not particularly, it's boring for me. So, but I'm trying to document everything, so I will edit it down as much as possible. And crack on and catch you later.
Just in between jobs, when all the plywood arrived, just came on the pallet, and I brought it in and stacked it up. And as soon as I'd done it, I'd realised that the things I need earlier on are on the bottom, and the stuff I need later on is the top. And I really don't want to have to shuffle it every time. So I have a cunning plan. Let's see if it works. Is that I've kept one of the pallets here, and I'm going to put some casters on the bottom of this, and then I'm going to take this and stack them on here. And I eventually want it back in there. So the idea is I'll do this, stack them on top, and then able to wheel it back into place. So hopefully that works. Well, that was a bit of a, not waste of time, but total failure of concept. So I've got halfway through and put all the 18mm boards on. And I thought, well, I better try and move this thing. And I don't know, there's probably about 3/4 of a ton on there already. And I just, certainly on my own, there's no way I can move that. Not come hell or high water, even with a lever. So so I've now. On the other hand, it's not a total waste of time, because I would have to have unstacked those boards regardless to get to the ones at the back, which are the lining ply I need for the sides, which hopefully I'll need relatively shortly. So and I would have had to stack them there, and they would have been there, and I would have to stack them up. So I said, nothing lost per se, other than I've just done it a bit earlier than I needed. And maybe when there's a few people around one time, and there's some slightly bigger guys than me, maybe I'll ask them to see if we can have a few of us together can get this thing moving, because there is wheels under there now. It's just there's just too much inertia for me to get there on my own. Normally I hate using the chop saw, but it's such a joy to be A, outside the tin oven, and B, not to be carving up pieces of effing insulation. That I'm actually really enjoying the change of scene for once. There's not so much work going on the last couple of days. It's absolutely boiling in here. I ordered an indoor-outdoor thermometer, which arrived today. I was just curious just how hot it was in here, and there you can see. It's the top one's outside, and that's not in the sun. That's the temperature outside. It's there's the you probably can't see, but there's the sensor sitting happily in the shade, and slightly warmer inside. Oh, goodness gracious! Actually sitting outside in the shade to try where there's a bit of a breeze at least, and not quite as tropical. Well, it's as hot as you can see, but at least there's a bit of a breeze out there.
Hello again. Well, I've been here about 2 weeks now, and it's time to head back down south to get some to get a good wash and some clean clothes, etc., and have a teeny bit of a rest. Although it's not so much of a rest this time. I'm going to help my friend move, and also help another friend move his bunnies, so it's moving. Anyway, that's irrelevant. So yeah, so I hasn't been so much in the way of videos taken over the last few weeks. Not a couple of weeks. Not so. It's not that I haven't been productive. It's just, well, a couple of things. There hasn't been such many work days. By the time we take away the sweltering hot days, and not just the massive heat wave. Even when I arrived, it was still bearably hot in there. And then also in the middle of the weekend, from Thursday to Tuesday, I had a succession of visitors coming, which I'm not complaining about anyway. Thank you for coming to visit. It was very nice to see you all, and really nice to have some company and go and walk down the canal. Anyway, on top of that, and it was a day I didn't feel well, so there haven't actually been that many work days. But, and the ones that I have had, well, it's just been so tediously boring for me. It would be even more tediously boring for you, even if I put the stuff on time-lapse. So, yeah, it's just been chasing out the insulation for the battens and for the wiring. But I have made some progress. Well, I'm delighted to say I've finally at least, but I finished this task in the whole great saga of the insulation. So I think, other than the bulkheads, which I've already said they've got to do it as a separate mini project. So for the last couple of weeks when I have been working, it's what I've been doing is cutting in these channels for all the battens, which have had to be, well, I'd already measured them out, so that wasn't too bad. I mean, it was bad. It was extremely tedious as normal. And then, as well as that, on top of that, before I sort of want to start fixing everything, what I've done is had to work out where I want any sort of sockets or sort of wiring channels in these parts. Took quite a bit of thinking because I had to measure. I'm trying to do the measure multiple times and cut once type principle. Although I'm sure there'll still be mistakes. So I measured again where all the bulkheads were going to be, where the cabinets were going to be, etc., etc. Had to measure out then. Also, what I've done is worked out where all the ceiling lights are going to go and made sure they're all in line and well spaced. And then, because the board is going to be well sort of quite close to this, there isn't much wet through the wires. So what I've done is, if you can just about see here, there's a bit of conduit that goes behind the batten. So what I'm hoping that means is when I've come to then push them in, foam them in so they're all solid, there'll be a channel here that can fill any tiny gaps up with expanding foam, but there'll still be a route across where it needs to go. Most of the wires were going up and down, and that's not a real problem, but here, for where it has to go across the way, as it were, I've then got those, and hopefully that will work for me. So I've still quite a way to go with the whole insulation thing, but I'm really happy that when I leave in an hour or so's time, that this bit is done. So when I come back, I'm putting the battens, putting in the actual gluing. I use the word glue, but using the insulation expanding foam to get the in. So finally, there'll be something permanently in there. I reckon that will probably be the next sort of couple of weeks period, if I'm honest. I'm just, nothing's done quickly, as I've discovered. So sorry for the delay on the video. I'm sorry this is probably not a hugely interesting one, and I'll make my apologies in advance. It'll be another while till the next video, because, as I said, I'm not going to take videos for video's sake, or put videos up just to get a sort of a weekly pattern, because it's just not fun for anybody. But yeah, I'm afraid you've got to, just like me, you've got to plough your way through a bit more through the whole tedious insulation, but then it will be on to better things. Anyway, hope you're all doing well, and catch you later. And I'll see you back on here in a week or so. Bye.